in support of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Also in support of the men. I support a lot of different ideals, even though the people who are the public face for those ideals aren't necessarily the best people for the job. Alright, so the mean girl. Today she wanted to do the same thing she did yesterday. As soon as I was trying to decide whether or not the assistant manager that was here this morning had left or not. Well, based on the conversations, I could tell that he had left already. It's different people working today than it was yesterday. And the people today didn't tolerate it. As soon as she started in on starting to bash on everybody at the Starbucks here today, they did the right thing. They didn't bully her or belittle her. All of the women who were working here today, because it's just women again, and that's what I was kind of afraid of. I wasn't sure how a couple of these ladies would react if the mean girl was here today and it was just women again. Oh God, they cut her off. They did, and properly so, without antagonizing her or antagonizing the situation. There was only one snide comment necessary, and it was, and I will quote her on this. She said, "Who are you talking to?" And just like that. And so, yes, there was a little bit of attitude in that towards the mean girl. But that's the thing, is that they're all pleasant people who want to be pleasant and want to have a positive and safe working environment. And when they got somebody there who's just mean, always talking about everybody else, and then, of course, it's my last trip to Europe, and I'm going on a Euro trip again. I'm saving for a Euro trip, and I'm thinking about getting rid of all of my friends who didn't buy me a Christmas present. That's a friendship ender right there. Cool. All right, if that's a friendship ender, I never really had any friends, did I? As soon as they don't buy me a Christmas present, we're not friends anymore. I know I shouldn't laugh at the situation because it's not that laughable a situation, but I'm trying to find a positive thing to it. But really, I don't have to find a positive thing to it or put a positive thing to it. Bree dealt with it appropriately and as an adult. I wasn't sure, how she would react, if she was going to be one of those mean girls or not. But here's the funny thing. She told me this morning that she's mean. She's a mean girl. And I don't agree, and neither do the other employees. We don't see her as mean. Direct, maybe. Frank, maybe. Snarky, well, everybody's got them days, right? But in that situation where that popular mean girl wanted to come in today, and as soon as there was no man there again, do the same thing that she had done yesterday, no, it was not tolerated. And Miss Dallas put her foot down too, and she was very, very, very nice and diplomatic about it. Yes, it took a snarky comment to really put a stop to it and make it so that it was established. This is to be a positive place for all of us to work. I love that. And over at the Starbucks, over at Fred Meyer's, they tried their best to make it a comfortable and safe environment for me. They didn't get to decide what the police did. They didn't get to decide what Molly did. They didn't get to decide none of that, but they got to decide what they did, and they treated me well. Same thing with the folks from the Starbucks here in Tillamook that work up at the Safeway. They all treated me well. The few people that didn't treat me well, I said something about. I didn't have to say anything about the mean girl today or yesterday. People can see it, they can hear it. That's the great thing about having people there in person to do something about it when it happens. I'm a customer. If I go stepping on those toes, especially depending on the manager that's there, or assistant manager, or what's the other one? Shift manager. Depending on which one's there, I might have to mind my P's and Q's more than others. I might have to pretend to be Jesus and all perfect for some of them, for them not to do mean shit. Or to not feel comfortable doing mean shit. And that's one of the things that people look for when they look for a victim, is validation. Sometimes they'll poke and prod a little bit first, and sometimes they'll prep the course by gaslighting the person. Saying a few things here and there about the person, trying to basically get others to think poorly or badly about that other person. Now here's the thing, is that other people see these things for themselves enough to actually do something about it. When it's that bad, like, you guys get to see how often people actually do something about it. Not very. But when they do, you get to see how eternally grateful I am. And even if we have issues later on and I'm angry with them later on, I'm still grateful and glad for what they did for me when they did it. I'm not really this hateful person that people try to make me out to be. I hate the situation. And I especially hate the bodies. And the sheer number of them. And the sheer quantity of people looking the other way. But you know what? Mike stood up for me in person. Julie stood up for me in person. That's over at the Denny's. Same thing with Jaden, and from what he was saying, I want to say it was Jaden that was telling me his mom was sticking up for me too. There's a lot of other people that I'm not mentioning. I'm just mentioning the ones that I let know right from the very beginning that I record. And for my safety and the safety of others. Now, I'd really like to write to Starbucks about all of these people who were absolutely wonderful. Brandy over at the Fred Meyer's Starbucks. Man, I am so grateful for her. I should have taken that opportunity, but I wasn't in a good mind or frame of mind for thinking at that point. Seeing that guy who had... Man, the fucked up shit that he did in Hood River. Oh my God. Like, he scared the living hell out of that young woman up there and her boyfriend with his perverted shit. Keisha Dominguez typed, "Hey man, what's up?" Hey, how you doing? I was just talking about how there was a mean girl here today who works at Starbucks, and how the other employees, they didn't allow that. They made sure that it was maintained as a safe environment for them and for me, and I am so grateful for that. I'm still living in my vehicle. It's still not legal. I still don't have the money to get everything swapped over, because I'll have to swap over my driver's license, and I'll have to swap over my plates probably at the same time, but the driver's license has to be first. Keisha Dominguez types, are you from Scottsbluff, Nebraska? Yes, why? I was born there, but I wasn't raised there. I've only lived there, I'm going to say 3 months back in 1998, and no, it was 2 months in 1998. And I lived there for, no, it probably wasn't even that long. And then I was in the hospital there and in the jail there. So as soon as I left the hospital and the jail, the first thing I started doing was walking back to Chapel, Nebraska. Why do you ask? Are you looking at my license plates? They would have told you I'm from Dual County, so that's not the case. Sometimes I wonder why people ask things that they do. Now, being as I was born in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, it makes sense that people would ask that. Now, I was staying in the Capri Motel for a few nights. That's where Stephanie Mejia and Juan Santana came to see me and were going to help me. And that probably would have worked out if it weren't for people's libidos. When Stephanie Mejia and Ventus got together while I was in jail, and that was a stupid situation, all based on lies by police officers. Well done, assholes. When I say I'm the only person who's been honest through this, that's no fucking joke. Now, I admit that when I'm stressed out, my words don't come together. And the more stressed out I am, the less they come together. Now, the question of if I'm from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, no, that place ain't for me. That place is an ugly place. I don't mean just ugly looking. I mean, it's tough to be treated like a human being in a place like that, especially if you're disabled. It's a bunch of fucking rednecks. You got no idea how creepy it is for me, being raised with a whole bunch of Hispanic folks and black folks and shit in the system, and Asian folks. And then, of course, I get dropped off in Chapel, Nebraska, where they blame everything on blacks and Mexicans. I'm like, what the fuck? White people are so weird. And I try not to blame all white people. I try not to be racist like that. I know a lot of white people who aren't like that. And I know a whole bunch more white people who really, really do try not to be like that. But you know, sometimes the effort is what matters, and sometimes really the effort isn't a matter of jack shit, because it's not something that's complicated. When somebody's being abused, it's not difficult to say, hey, this needs to stop. This is wrong. Now, when I spoke about Miss Lauderdale at the Scottsbluff jail, you know, she knew Riley Lawton. That's my niece's father and a friend of mine. You know, she worked in the jail, tried to break my fingers, made sure that I got tasered. It was all sorts of pleasant. But why is it that I'm not trying to take her to court the way that I am with the other ones? Well, there's this little thing called repenting. It's not right before you die, you pretend like you're sorry for all the shit you did. No, Miss Lauderdale told me. She told me, hey, I'm sorry for what I did. And then she tried to make amends by making sure that there were other guards there that she was friendly with that knew that I did need help. And that I did need to be protected. And the thing is, she also told me that she was willing to speak up about it. And that's important. It says, I'm using my girlfriend's YouTube. My name is Ruben Mendez. Well, you sound like a brown person. As a Nebraskan, I'm not supposed to like you. As somebody who grew up elsewhere, welcome to my channel. Often on my channel, I speak about brown people. I say brown people in specific for a reason. I get told these Mexicans. I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? Puerto Rico is not Mexico. Keisha Dominguez types, well, I'm white. Well, that's all right. I'll forgive you for that. It's not popular these days, and it's well hated. With that last name, you'd think you're either adopted or you have Hispanic heritage. But then again, a lot of the Spaniards that I know, people actually from Spain, are very, very white. Like, very white and blonde-haired and blue-eyed. Not at all what people expect out of Mexicans. It ends up being a very racist thing based on color because, you know, a lot of people hear the Spanish language and just start assuming the worst. If you see a white person who speaks Spanish, you might assume that they're a white person who learned Spanish. Well, they might be from Spain. They might actually be from Spain. Anyway, I was crying a little bit before this video. I do get emotional. Keisha Dominguez, Ruben Mendez types, I'm wanted in Scotts Bluffs, so I stay away from that place. Yeah, me too. I'm not wanted there, but I do stay away from there. It's not a good place. Are you one of the people that was in jail with me? Are you a witness to the assaults or the hazing or the harassment? When? That would have been in January or February 2021 and June or July or August of 2020. 2021 as well, I guess. God, the years are going by fast. That's one of the things about everybody being hurry up and wait. You'd probably remember me. If you were, you wouldn't be asking when. Keisha Dominguez types, I don't know, I can't remember. You'd definitely remember me. Alright, well, I gotta piss like a Russian racehorse. I just wanted to say what a great job I think the people at the Starbucks are doing. And when they correct somebody immediately as it's happening, the way that the ladies here today did. You know, there's one person who is well behaved, kind of, sort of. But as soon as the male manager leaves, she wanted to test the waters and see if it was okay to be a mean girl. And she thought that it was just girls, so it would be fine. And Miss Dallas and Miss Bree both put a stop to that and made it a professional working environment. And that is more than I can hope for, given the situation with the world we live in today. The whole every man for himself mentality. Keisha Dominguez types come to Colorado. I was in Colorado. You should type the name Natalie Bollinger, and you will see the situation in Colorado and how screwed up it is. And part of why I can't go back. You get to read and hear a whole bunch of slander. After you do that, you can send me a friend request on Facebook and type in your email address. Or you can send me a message at doggedroman@gmail.com, doggedroman@gmail.com, and I can send you some evidence. You don't have Facebook. Well, there's also a lot of evidence on here that you can see. I'm an asshole. I do need to go, though, because I really have to pee. Hopefully by now you all know how I end these videos. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Remember, you are your brother's keeper. Or, no, good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind. It says, stay up. Well, I'll be trying to post more later on. I just really have to pee. And I'm not going to be having this thing recording in the bathroom in Starbucks. That's just not cool. Matter of fact, it's kind of gross. Oh.